gon' take it there? Who gon' take it there? Who gon' take it there? Who gon' take it there? Electricity, 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 electricity. You know what's in the air. 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 It's possibility. It's possibility. It's possibility. It's possibility.
So something I just wanted to touch on real quick, because it's relevant to probably the most important thing that we're seeing happen right now in America, which is Cenk Uygur has come out to acknowledge what Trump said recently in the Oval Office with the dictator that leads El Salvador and that has been facilitating Trump's deportation of various migrants, in some cases residents, in some cases criminals, really just anybody that they can round up, put on a plane, and deport to an El Salvadorian prison where supposedly nobody ever leaves from. I mean, this is a torture camp. People don't get time outside. They don't get, this is not like even by the standards of America, which has some of the worst prisons in the world, this is far beyond a prison in terms of cruelty. And Trump and the president of El Salvador said today in the Oval Office of the White House that they will not be obeying a court order from the Supreme Court to bring back somebody that they mistakenly deported. So that means they accidentally deported somebody to this prison who now it has been proven and acknowledged in a court of law that it was a mistake to do so. And the court ordered them to bring this guy back because he shouldn't have been deported in the first place. And Trump has openly defied that order. And not only that, but he's sitting there in the Oval Office talking with this guy about how Trump wants to start deporting homegrown terrorists next. So everybody just needs to understand that this is the moment of the arrival of fascism. The court, a lower court, also recently decided that Mahmoud Khalil can be deported by the Trump administration, not because he committed any crime or did anything that's actually wrong or that anything was wrong with his papers, but because he was making speech that the administration and I guess this court have determined are sufficient to make him a threat to the stability of the United States. So people are not only being deported over political speech, they're being deported over nothing, over literally nothing, just literally being in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a story about a kid who was grabbed up and deported, and at the time, one of the agents said, "This isn't the right guy," and another one of them said, "Just take him anyway," and so they did. So that's their practice right now. That's what they're doing. They're getting anybody they can. They don't care who it is. There's no due process here. Anybody defending this is absolutely too far gone. Too far gone. And maybe there will come a day in the future where people reckon with how bad this is and how bad it got so fast, and who knows how bad it's going to be from here. But we shouldn't hold our breath. I mean, if people are still defending this, what it means is that whatever historical knowledge they have about what happened in Nazi Germany, what happened in fascist Italy, it's not sufficient. They were not sufficiently educated on what it looks like when a dictator comes to power, because the whole point of America is always supposed to have been that it doesn't matter politically where somebody's coming from. If they're exhibiting signs of being a dictator and subverting the democratic process, subverting the rights of citizens or otherwise, that is unacceptable within the political system of America, and they will be ousted or not have been allowed to participate in politics in the first place. That's the American ideal. So we are very far beyond that point, and people have completely lost the plot. I mean, Fox News is on 24 hours a day justifying this, justifying no due process, rounding up people with no due process and deporting them, and then saying, well, what do you mean? I can't get him back. It's only a prison that's on my land that I have total control over, that I'm the one who purposely deported him there in the first place. we're only two of the most powerful people in the world, and certainly the most powerful people in this situation to do something about it. But we can't bring that guy back. So to be clear, what that means is that he's probably dead. Or they might, even if he's not dead yet, they might kill him so that they don't have to bring him back. But they already have brought some people back. Like I think a couple women were brought back, maybe some children as well, from this prison, which means that the Trump administration and these ICE goons deported women and children. It took people at this torture facility to say, there's nothing we can do with these people. We got to send these guys back because they're women and children. That part of the process never happened earlier on. So that's what we're looking at here. I mean, this is 5 alarm fire levels of fascism. Fascism has arrived. There's no doubt about it. And Cenk Uygur has acknowledged this. He's on Twitter acknowledging that how dictatorial and fascistic this is on the part of Trump and the president of El Salvador. But what he's not doing is taking accountability for the fact that he was specifically wrong about this. He was wrong about this specifically. When Francesca Fiorentini debated him and said, they're going to start rounding people up like Chinese immigrants, which she is worried for because she has Chinese people in her family and is partially Chinese. And Cenk has Chinese people in his family too, by the way. And Cenk said that that's ridiculous. Francesca Fiorentini said that they're going to start sending people to concentration camps. And Cenk said that that's ridiculous. He scoffed it off. He laughed it off in the sanctimonious way that he's been doing lately with people that he deems to be on the max left. And so what this means is that there's a real disconnect. At some point, Cenk has decided that he no longer views Trump as what we have all known Trump to be this entire time. And if you were paying attention to the things Trump says, if you know anything about history, and if you're not pulling the wool over your own eyes and in favor of believing in this con man, business tycoon, then you knew from before Trump even won the first time that this is where this was heading. And we're here now. And so the mask is ripped off. I do not know how bad this has to get before people start to change their minds, or if that is ever going to even happen. I'm not talking about Cenk. I'm talking about people who are completely on board with this El Salvadorian gulag scheme. And there are people who are defending this. And so for Cenk to come out and say, not only does he say this is unacceptable, he acknowledges what's going on, but what he also says is, why can't Trump just round up the criminals and deport them? Why isn't Trump just rounding up illegals and people who are committing heinous crimes and getting rid of them? That would be enormously popular. Why does Trump have to go about doing all of this horrifying deportation of residents and people who didn't do anything wrong, and then moving on to American citizens? God knows what that even means. I mean, none of us are safe. I'm certainly not with my little YouTube podcast. Who knows what criteria they're going to use? If they're just deporting random makeup artists and people who have no type of background in the system whatsoever, then once they move on to citizens, who knows who they're going to be going after. But Cenk, the best criticism that he can muster of this is this isn't what Trump said he was going to do. Why can't Trump just deport the bad guys? Why is he also deporting the good guys and the regular guys? Because that was always the plan. That was always the plan. And the thing about Cenk is that he's not even a believer in this MAGA shit. All he's ever tried to do is split the difference on it. And he's trying to find a way that he can find common ground with people who are MAGA, because they're just right-wing populists, and so they want the same thing. They want populism and anti-establishment, and I can relate to that, so we can work together. And so that's what this whole project was about. And yet now we're at a point where those people who are supposedly populists, who want what's best for the country and are maybe just misguided by a liar like Trump, those people seem to be pretty in support of Trump not just deporting criminals, but deporting whoever the fuck he wants. And if you paid attention to Trump, which I know Cenk has because he's been doing this for years for a living, you would know that this is exactly what Trump was always shooting for. Everything about his rhetoric always pointed specifically to this. And so Cenk is just explicitly wrong about this. He was wrong in his own words. And I think he needs to acknowledge that, because maybe he's hopeless at this point, and maybe whatever his financial incentives are that are getting him wrapped up in this kind of like MAGA apology, maybe that's just going to continue to dictate what he does or doesn't do. But all I know is that like this is glaring, man, and this is an opportunity to like get yourself back on track here, because people don't trust you anymore, and this is exactly why. Like, this is an opportunity for him to understand that this is why people don't trust you anymore, man. And I know you might be building some audience that is like more favorable to this MAGA apology, but guess what? That audience is also going to be more favorable to this blatantly dictatorial fascist scheme that Trump has cooked up within the first 90 days of his presidency. And so we need some more. We need more from Cenk on this, because Cenk specifically laughed off the idea that concentration camps were in the question when it came to Trump's plans for immigrants. And it took us 90 days to get there. 90 days. So that means Cenk has been blinding himself to what's really going on. I don't know why. I don't know if it's Peter Thiel money from Polymarket, or because he's trying to pivot his business, or because he wants to keep Anna Kasparian on board, so he's opening his mind to some of the right-wing propaganda she's been taking in. But either way, both of them contributed to the media panic that has led to the environment where Trump can indiscriminately deport people just by claiming that they are trained to Aragua or whatever. It doesn't matter who they are, where they came from. Nobody's checking any of that. Nobody's checking any of that. There's no due process here. By the time any journalists get their hands on any of this information, these people are gone, man. And some of them we might see again. Some of them might get released. Some of them might never get out of there. Some of them might be dead already. There's real signs that people, this might just be like an extermination. Because think about it. If they're taking people because they want to put them to work, and then Trump is just giving them as many people as he can, including, again, women and children. So there's going to be a certain amount of people. That means that all of these humans are purely transactional. These are commodities for this business to take in. That's why this is an appealing deal for this El Salvadorian president. And if some of those people, if they determine that a certain amount of those people are not cost effective for them to keep around as laborers, what they're going to do is they're going to exterminate them. And that's partially what happened in Nazi Germany as well. Not to say that the goal wasn't always to exterminate them, but they had a lot of Jews working at the work camps as well, because that's what you do. You round people up and you say, well, we got to put them to work. We got to get some use out of them. So we'll send them all to the same place. The ones we can't make use of, we send to the chimneys. And the ones that we can make use of, we squeeze them dry and then we send them to the chimneys. That's what happened there. And this is... realistically, we are looking at exactly the same thing. The only difference for now is that Trump has decided to offshore this process because there's less accountability. But now Eric Prince is talking about the fact that America should take ownership of that land and then put the El Salvadorian president in charge of it, so that by sending people there, we're not extraditing them. And they're actually still on it. So similar to Guantanamo Bay is essentially what the techno-fascists want to turn this into. They want it to be Amazon Prime for human beings, they've said. So, I mean, this is real out-and-out fascism. No question about it. I know Cenk knows that, and that's what people have been screaming up and down at him, that it's like, you got to stop apologizing for this and trying to find middle ground for this, because we see where this is going, and you're putting yourself in a position where you're blinding yourself to where this has always been going, and so that makes you much less useful in the face of this. Coming out and say, why can't Trump just deport the bad guys? I mean, that's pathetic, man. That's pathetic. You're not acknowledging that this was the plan the entire fucking time. But he can't do that, because that would also be to acknowledge that he was wrong. And I think we all know that he can't do that at this point. So whatever, Cenk's a lost cause. I don't care. I just wanted to use this as an excuse to talk about this situation with Trump and this El Salvadorian president. God help us all. And I can only pray that as things get worse, better leaders than Cenk Uygur emerge to at least accurately describe what's happening.